Am I the only one talking about this? What the? So this is the 7 best things you can do to improve your computer security defense. Number 1, focus on root causes. Don't focus so much on what's getting on your computers and in your environment. You need to focus more on how they're getting into your environment. If you want to stop someone from breaking into your house, you need to focus on how they're breaking into your house. So if you want to have the best computer security defense you can, you need to concentrate on the root causes, initial root causes of how they're getting in, whether it's social engineering, unpatched software, misconfiguration, human error, whatever that is. That's the first thing you can do to make a better defense. Number 2, you certainly need to concentrate more on social engineering and phishing. Social engineering and phishing is involved in 70 to 90% of all successful data breaches, and because companies and people don't focus enough on that stat is the reason why most hackers and malware are successful. You need to do more training to try to prevent social engineering and phishing. The average organization only does security awareness training to fight phishing and social engineering about once a year. You need to be doing training at least once a month. You need to be doing simulated phishing at least once a month, and really you need to be doing simulated phishing probably about once a week. Another thing you can do to have a better security defense is to focus more on spear phishing. Spear phishing, which is when the hacker has some non-public information that they know about you, or they're just targeting you, your organization, or a group you belong to. So there is only involved, according to Barracuda Networks, is only involved in 0.1% of email attacks, but it's responsible for 66% of successful data breaches. One thing, spear phishing. So you need to make sure that you're training your friends and family and coworkers about spear phishing, what spear phishing is, giving them lots of examples, and then doing simulated phishing testing about spear phishing to see how they do. You also have to focus on patching your software and firmware better. Unpatched software and firmware, according to Google Mandiant, is involved in 33% of successful attacks. So if you want to stop a third of all successful hacking, you want to make sure that you're better patching your software and firmware, and specifically the exploits that are being actively exploited against real-world organizations. And that's in a CISA, a Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency list known as the Known Vulnerability Exploit Catalog. That Known Vulnerability Exploit Catalog has every exploit that has been actively exploited by a real-world attacker against a real-world company. Also, you need to be using multi-factor authentication, MFA, but you want to make sure that it's phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication. Most of the people in this world use Phish-Able MFA, which is almost no better than a login name and password. You want to be using phishing-resistant MFA, and if you don't know what that is, you need to be following me on LinkedIn because I talk about phishing-resistant MFA all the time. And then the last thing I can tell you to improve your security defense is to know that these 6 things that I just gave you are what you need to be doing better to significantly improve your cybersecurity defense. And every other thing that you do that is not those 6 things is decreasing your effectiveness. So most people are concentrating more on everything else. I want you to concentrate more on the 6 things that I just talked about and less on everything else.